Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Connecting Dots podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Usama. Today, I'm joined by Brian Kracik, all the way from Chicago. He's the head of telecom industry marketing for Google Cloud, and I'm very excited to be talking to him today. So this podcast is going to be just before we hit Mobile World Conference. So I'm very excited to hear his thoughts and his team's feelings about what the event is going to be about. So with that, let's get started, Brian. I formally welcome you to the show. And how had your day been so far?
Usama, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Really looking forward to the conversation. Well, you mentioned up front, this is right before Mobile World Congress. So I'm going to leave the audience to guess how my day was so far. It was maybe perhaps full of about, I think I had 18 meetings today. We're really gearing up for a really nice show and look forward to, as always, Barcelona and returning into full speed ahead at Mobile World Congress.
Excellent. So, Brian, first of all, let's get started with your professional journey. Currently, your job titles seem to be very exciting. So, for our audience, give us a summary of how your professional journey has evolved and what are some of the exciting roles that you've taken in the past?
Yeah, so, I always try to think of this is a journey. It's not one stop and done. Mm-hmm. And I started my journey out of university working with Commonwealth Edison and doing and designing distribution systems, 12K and 4kVA type systems, really learning how to work, how to speak with customers, how to take requirements, how to then bring those back and create an engineering plan and design so that our linemen could then go create those physical monuments, if you will, to bring electricity to all the homes and all of the new businesses around. So that was a nice, really way to come out of university and hit the ground running. Lots of new things you had to learn. It's kind of like a crawl, walk, and run. I did a short stint with a HVAC mechanical and electrical design studio and really designing the electrical layouts of new stores. And at the time, being here in Chicago, Dominic's Fresh stores and some high schools around, and learning really interesting things. Like if I'm designing the theater, I had to put the transformer in a separate room on steel beams with neoprene pads, because when it's quiet scene, it has to be quiet.
Right.
Can't have noise. And then it was kind of interesting. Back when I graduated, there was this new thing called wireless. And it was the days of big brick phones. And then, it wasn't a big brick phone when I started, but they were quite sizable. Moved into the design of wireless networks. And then from the wireless network side, went to the wireline network side. And then I moved into what I call the other side of the business. So I was on the buy side of the business and the construction side. Then I went to the vendor side. And I worked my way up from a hardware with Sun Microsystems into middleware with BEA Systems, which was acquired by Oracle. So that put me into the software stack, and then SaaS, and then over to Google Cloud, where I'm at today. So that's just kind of a quick run through. There's a lot of cool stories within that period that we can talk about, but that's the quick run through.
Right. That's excellent. So if you were to double down on the current role that you have right now as a head of marketing in telecom space for Google Cloud, so essentially, what does the role entail for you?
So the role is really focused on working across our organization on a global basis and working with our key partners. So the GM of my business, our product management team, our outbound product management, our sales organization, the partner organization, everything that you could imagine in bringing that together and creating a strategic plan.
Right.
And really trying to amplify what our message is, help define and deliver those, and help communicate out into the marketplace, leveraging all different channels. So it's a real interesting position when you're on the product marketing side and industry marketing side, with lots of different connection points throughout the company. And you have to multitask. Right. It is a big multitasking job. Yeah.
Right. But having an engineering background, does it really, in your opinion, do you think it adds value, or it it makes a good solid foundation for someone to be successful in this role?
I think it's a great foundation. And I did that jump from designing wireless and wireline networks and distribution networks for the electrical side into the marketing and business development side and into market intelligence. And it was really during that time I'd gone out and sought more education from an MBA perspective and achieved my MBA. And it wasn't because I wanted to switch fields.
Right.
I had that technology background and I wanted to see the other aspects of the business. So it was really eye-opening to see how the business was run and how all these piece parts fit together. And that was really interesting for me, along with the technology, which is why, I've been out in the Valley been here in Chicago, but marketing and business development for Valley companies since '01. It's a long time ago. I gave a secret there. But when you look at that engineering background, what do I really do? I'm a translator. I translate technology into business terms and common language so that you can have that conversation with your mom or your dad or your cousin or your sister or your brother. So I'm just translating.
Right. That is such a nice way of putting it together.
Yeah. That's what I tell people. I translate. I translate technical speak into common language. And it's really, language matters so much. We all come from different backgrounds and have different viewpoints, which is magical. So I find you want to start with a really consistent and core set of words and propositions. The more flowery language you put around it, the more room for interpretation. And the more technical language you put around it, the more room for not understanding. So it's coming to that balance that's really where the magic can happen.
Right. Excellent. So once you've started executing in this position, Brian, had there been any myths that got busted for you?
Any myths? So just from a marketing perspective, I think there's a myth out there. You just do fluff. Marketing is not fluff. Marketing is, again, that clear communication of what the value and what that union between a seller and a buyer can be. It's about leveraging a picture. It's about putting words to that picture and bringing together a common understanding of a pain point, of a solution, and the benefits, and really bringing that all together. So we do things that are really interesting and core to helping everybody get on the same page. We focus on a message house. So it's a way of organizing your thoughts. What is the customer's pain? What is the promise of our solution? And then what are the proof points? And that really helps clarify, do you have something of value? So it's a really cool process. It's not people thinking up flowery words. It's understanding the technology and what the benefit, because I've been in many a company where the technology is great. And I've heard many engineers say the best technology always wins. That is not the case. That is not the best communicated technology to solve that business problem, and the best relationships win in the business place. And that's important to remember.
Right, Brian. So another thing I had been thinking lately was that since Google and the competition are now exploring the telecom side of the world, and I wanted to ask you that, typically these big tech companies are known for their lucrative programming careers that people can have here. But for tech enthusiasts, what kind of telecom related roles would we see originating in the next 5 years or 10 years, maybe down the road?
So I tell you what, this is really a fascinating time to be in the telecommunications space. We're really evolving. Think of the days when it was Bell Labs and all the innovation coming out of Bell. They were the best and brightest engineers you would find.
Right.
We've seen a shift in some cases, still the best and brightest, But there's been a shift over the years into the software side of things. And you saw a lot of talent going into the California tech companies. And now it's all merging again. So the way we design and deliver and manage the network and technology within the IT space, so the CTO's environment and the CIO's environment are completely being transformed and revolutionized. And it's a fascinating time to still, come in with the fresh ideas and the new technology, but still providing that same reliability and the same security that we come to understand from leveraging our devices, whether it's a mobile device or a wireline, or having the conversation that we're having right now over this video chat. It's tremendous technology, tremendous minds. It's moving fast, very fast. So there was a period where I think telecom had a lot it was comfortable. It was comfortable. And then came some discomfort and a lot of pressures. And all of a sudden you have to adapt how the business model is working. So it was a business model change. And we're seeing the data usage skyrocket and the revenues flatten. So let's re-architect how we do our networks. Let's look at a transformation on the digital side, just like any other enterprise. And we're seeing that happen today. So cloud technologies coming to the network, cloud transformations coming into the IT space, and a lot of new energy and new youth coming into the telecommunications business. It's a really exciting time. It was hugely exciting when I joined. There was 10% market penetration. What do I mean by that? And that's in the mobile industry. Only 10%, 1 out of every 10 students say, had a mobile device. That's incredible. That's very low penetration rate. The name of the game at that time was build more cell sites. I need more signals. For every cell site we put up, we'd get $57,000 per month. So that was the name of the game. So that was a rapid. Now it's about innovation. How am I going to change that? And what kind of positions are out there? Software design, RF positions. There's a lot from a chip level perspective as well. It's all out there. It's all out there, and it's coming together, and we're pretty excited about it. And at Google Cloud, we're together with some other technology companies and promoting telecommunications within the university system, because we want the best and the brightest, and you get to work on the latest and greatest technology.
Right. So extrapolating that a little bit forward, Brian, Mobile World Conference is such a big event where we get to experience the future of telecom industry. So first of all, Brian, before I ask you any more questions about it, tell me, how excited are you and how's your team feeling like?
Well, I tell you what, we're really gearing up for it. Back in 2020, we announced at Google Cloud that we're really moving heavily into this space. And we've built out a team of industry veterans, as well as young talent, to come together and move really quickly. We feel really strongly about the position we have in the marketplace. And for the first time ever, Google Cloud, we will have our own independent presence at Mobile World Congress. So we've been organizing our booth, our demos, our meetings, our extracurricular executive hospitality sessions. And we'll be in Hall 2, 2D50. Right. Come on by. I think Thursday is Student Day. So we're really excited and ready to see how we can continue to help our customers really solve their problems. That's what it is. We view it as partnerships. And a lot of what you see in the press, we talk about those partnerships.
Right, that's exciting. So Brian, out of all of the cool tech things that are hopefully going to be there, what's the most exciting piece of technology to you that you're really looking forward to see over there?
Well, I'm excited on a lot of fronts.
Right.
The way the network is changing from a really tightly coupled, siloed environment, and the way the community's coming together around open standards like Nefio, and how we're focused on developing cloud native networks within telecom is a real game changer. And what we're starting to see on not only the core and those network functions running on top of cloud, but also in the RAN, the radio access network. So that's going to be really exciting to see. You'll also see a focus across the industry on some of the augmented reality and virtual reality aspects. It's not dead. It's starting to bring them right to our devices. And we in particular at Google Cloud are leveraging our GPUs in the cloud and then streaming that experience, that photorealistic extended reality experience right to your device. So that's going to be fun. Cloud native networks, the way we're changing that. And then really, it might not sound exciting to some, there's still a lot of migrations happening. And there's still a lot of transformation happening. We see it, a lot of use of intelligence and AI. So that's going to be huge at this show. Whether it's AI in your contact center, leveraging natural language processing, or AI so you can create the next best offer for your customer, or AI when you're searching on your platform for the next phone plan and the right one comes to you. So
Right.
AI, cloud native networks, extended reality, there's just a lot to see. And I didn't even touch on the device side of what's happening. Quite honestly, that's not my product area.
Yeah.
That's
another world.
It's another world of Android. It's another world for Pixel. And a lot of the things that we have, we'll have presence from Alphabet, from all of those teams there, including YouTube. So Android, and a huge avenue of discovery. And what does that mean for your smart home and other aspects? Our device side with Pixel, YouTube, and then our cloud presence. So we're just really excited.
Nice. I wish you all the best with that, Brian. But for now, let's move back to the series of the questions. So, Brian, if I were to ask you about any cool traditions that you might have at your work, what's going to be your answer about it?
I think some, it's a tradition around trying to create community. It's really what we're trying to do here. And when I say that, it's a community within your company and creating that understanding and that trust so that you can move fast with a small team. So building that community and then taking the time to celebrate. I've now launched roughly 3 products here at Google Cloud in less than 2 years, and with many more to come. So taking the time to celebrate all the work the engineers have done, your product management team, your communications team on the PR side, your AR team, your general managers, your sales team, your customer engineers. This is just a huge community of people, and we're all running so hard. Sometimes my tradition, take a breath, let's celebrate, raise a glass of whatever beverage you like most, have a meal together, and getting that real human touch is a tradition that I like to have.
So moving on to the next section of the conversation, how do you see technology transforming how people are gaining knowledge? Because now you don't necessarily need to go to a university. There's YouTube, right? You can learn whatever you want. So in your opinion, how do you see moving forward, technology really impacting education sector?
So I'll revert back to some of my past experiences in a company I worked with, which Chegg. So my kids, I have 4 kids. One is through university and working, 2 are in university, 1 in high school. Mm-hmm. They don't bring home a book. They have no books. There's a Chromebook, and then there's virtual reading. So that's a huge way that technology has changed. One of my sons, he has 2 of his classes are virtual, and this is not because of the pandemic. So life has changed and technology has enabled that. That's a digital transformation of education. That's very powerful, and it's becoming the new norm. So it allows us to learn more in a different fashions. If I learn better on the whiteboard, should really focus to have that in-person class. If I learn better just listening, I can do that. So it gives us many different options to pursue educationally. And as you're alluding to, I personally just took helped my wife has a Miata, okay? And she had a clutch problem. So I learned how to change her clutch and successfully did so through YouTube.
Right.
It's very powerful. So I think education continues to change. Technology is adjusting that all the time. What I would encourage students to do is don't lose sight, and it's my biggest fear, don't lose sight of those personal connections that you develop. It's not a large group, but some of my very best friends are still from university and college. My best man was from college. I still keep in contact with a lot of that group. And you'll always have that memory, and it helps formulate how you work, how you build teams, how you communicate. Pretty critical. So
right.
Don't lose track of that.
Absolutely. That is such a profound thing to say. So other than that, Brian, if I were to talk to you about an MBA degree, so coming from an engineering background, how would you comment on the fact that how would getting an MBA help you in building a good business understanding of whatever industry would you be a part of?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. First of all, it's any business you're a part of. It's applicable at different points in time. I made a career shift. I wasn't just doing telecommunications. I was doing across all enterprises and selling across all of those industries. This is one I happen to engineer and design networks for. So it's a favorite of mine, but it's not the only thing I can do. And it's not the only direction that I may go. It depends on what we're trying to do in our business, but just getting that top level view and being able to come down and really focus on one aspect or multiple aspects becomes critical. You have the accounting side, understanding how that works. You have the engineering. What does that process look like? What does sprints look like? You have looking at a balance sheet. Unfortunately, business goes in cycles, and understanding what those cycles are, and in telecommunications and in technology, there's tough cycles that happen, and it's unfortunate at times. But just understanding how to read that and what are those, get on the right side of the cycle. Sometimes you're just riding them out. Sometimes you're getting on the top side of it. But the important thing is to get a broader understanding of how all of it's working together, because you then will be a better partner within your organization.
Right. So Brian, what are the core values that you really uphold in your life?
Yeah, you know what? I thought a little bit about that. And I think the first one I want to say, be kind. Be kind. Work humbly, be kind to others, and that goes a long way. It's easy to hide behind technology, but be kind and be humble and create that relationship with people. Don't hide behind technology. Use technology to make that better. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, really be curious. You are the only one in control of your destiny. You will need mentors. You will need help along the way, but you get to pivot when you want to pivot. So understand that sometimes pivots do happen to you, and that's okay. But be curious also to discover, why are we engineering it this way? Why is the business saying it that way? What does that person want to do? What is AI about? What is the network doing? Go figure that out. Why did Berkshire Hathaway create billions of dollars worth of worth? Well, go figure that out. Be curious. Right. Go discover things. You will never stop learning. I thought I would. It's like, college is over. I get to stop learning. Oh my goodness. That's when learning starts. You know what? So I was thinking, what does college really teach you? It taught me a way of thinking, a way of breaking down problems so I could solve really tough ones. Because at University of Illinois, and got my double E degree there, there are some really smart people, really, really smart people.
Right.
And they would beat you up, and you'd have a median score of 50. These are all students that came from straight A backgrounds, and a median score of 50, I thought, you feel horrible. What were they really teaching me? How to think about hard problems. So be curious. The last one I would leave you with is really comes from my athletic days. Be competitive. It's okay to compete. Be a team player, be competitive, and try to win. There's nothing wrong with winning.
Absolutely.
Winning's important. It really is. In whatever you're doing. So it's fine to be competitive. Be part of the team, create a competitive team.
It really encourages you to push your limits as well, and maybe come up with something that you don't even think that could be possible before as well. So I think that is really a good thing to have.
What was interesting, I had one of my VPs of engineering at Oracle. I put him up on stage one time. I said, listen, we don't have much to show. It's our biggest Oracle open world. I'm putting you on stage with our GM. I want you to showcase this demo. You go, no, I don't speak. I don't want to speak. That's the other. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone. Did a bang up job. It was better. He thanked me for that later because you really pushed me. So to your point, it's okay. Be competitive. Get pushed. Stretch for that, but also take care of yourself. It's important to do.
Right, absolutely. So other than that, Brian, I do remember at the start of the conversation, 18 meetings. So first of all, I would want to connect to you as a human being. So how does the person named Brian make that happen? What's your productivity hack?
My productivity hack. So here's you have to sift information very quickly. You have to look at everybody around you and how can you get that teamwork to happen? How can you find others that want to drive in the same direction you do, adding value? Process is good. Too much process slows progress. So really looking for the folks that are adding value within the process or creating a process that adds value. Don't create process to create process. If you have a bad budgeting cycle, let's go fix how we budget. If you have a bad way to approach creating content, let's go fix it. We have those technology tools. I actually love the Google tools. I had not used Google tools until 2 years ago when I came on board here. And the way we increase productivity by being in documents at the same time and comments, and you can just really move things faster. It's really fabulous to do. So the other piece, be inclusive. That helps move it. So I guess those are some of the things that I would think.
No, that is interesting. Sometimes I even think about the fact that how would world look like if it would not have two things, Google Calendar and Google Docs. That would be really hard.
I'm telling you, I'm living by it right now. The other one I will say is you have two hands, and when you pour sand into my hands, I cannot catch everything. But I have big palms and I will catch the majority of it, and I'm going to catch the most important pieces. So you keep everybody informed, you catch the big rocks, and I constantly reevaluate. I'll write lists to myself because I still like to write it down. My calendar drives me, but I'll look when I have some time and I'll say, are these still the right priorities? And I'll look for what will add the most value to the business and also give satisfaction to the team. So that's my hack. I don't know if it's a good one.
I mean, it is what it is. You made it happen, right?
Yeah, I think others have
Yeah.
better hacks. I guarantee that. Yeah.
Excellent, though. So, Brian, other than that, talking about mentorship, though, it is very essential in accelerating our professional careers. So, looking back at your journey, what had been the most useful advice that you've been given by your mentors or your seniors?
Yeah, I've had some really good mentors over my time, and I've thought a little bit about what they've provided me, and I'm hugely grateful for that guidance and that counsel. So, some of the greatest advice: don't be afraid to ask. Just don't be afraid to
Right.
ask. You have access to all this information, but it's okay to ask. And I see a lot of students. I don't want people to think I'm dumb. I don't want to think of. It's okay to ask. People love
Right.
when you ask them a question and they get to respond. They love that. Let them be smart. Let them
Yeah.
give you the knowledge. And the next piece is, once that happens, take that knowledge and add it to yours and then build upon it. That's one item. I
Right.
think the second bit of advice is really centered around continue to network. Network is important, but networking for the sake of networking, people who I maintain friendships with are usually the ones who we've networked and we produce something that we really admire each other for. Maybe not the same talents as mine, opposite talents, but we form a bond and we get work done. So networking just to say I know this many people, network focused on these people, we have a mutual respect and we stay in contact with each other, whether it's through your LinkedIn network or on other social platforms,
Right.
doesn't matter, but stay connected.
Right. Wonderful, Brian. So now that we're reaching the end of our conversation, Brian, so we'll wrap up here by the thoughts of when you look back at your career journey now, considering how dynamic and how happening it had been, what do you feel about it? How had the trajectory been in your opinion?
Well, it's a good question. This is a tough day to ask me. It's been really busy. No, I feel good about it. I really do. The people, the quality of people that I get to work with and have worked with throughout my career. I think of the early days of the wireless side. I did one of the first analog to digital conversions. So A to D conversion of a live network with subscribers hanging off of it. There's
Okay.
nothing more exciting than that. That's kind of fun.
Right.
Just the knowledge of the people, the times that you share. I've gone out to one of my good friends. He retired and I went out to his place in Paso Robles. I took a couple days off and we planted his vineyard, a lifelong dream of his. He's retired. He has 4 acres of a vineyard and we're able to share that moment together. Some folks I think I know their families better than many others because you spend so much time together. So really value those relationships. Continue to drive on your career, but don't force things. Pivot when you feel it's right to pivot. Create those relationships and continue to look for things that excite you. And it's okay to be in the day-to-day, but step back and say, even though that was day-to-day, here are the things that excited me about that day and feel accomplished in it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time and wisdom, Brian. I really appreciate your presence here and sharing your thoughts with us. As far as our audience are concerned, if you like the content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to show your support. And until the next episode rolls out, do check us out on other streaming platforms and do buy me a coffee, to which I'll provide the link in the description as well. So until the next time, take care of yourself and see you soon. Thank you.